Okay, these are not all exactly of the same type, but they're all together on the study page, so I'm going to do them together. Okay, this first one is we're going to be using powers and roots. You learned in lesson 7-5 that 9 to the 5 halves power is really saying 9 square rooted and then raised to the 5th power. The numerator raises it and the denominator roots it. And we could just as easily write this like this. We could say 9 to the 5th power and then square rooted. But then we'd have to go really big. 9 to the 5th power is 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. Get a huge number. Then we would have to square root that. That's pretty rough. That's big. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to root 9. We're going to say, what's the square root of 9? The square root of 9 is 3. And then we raise that to the 5th power, and that's more reasonable. It's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And just to group it for fun so that we can make this a little easy on ourselves, that 3 times 3 is 9. Sorry, trying to write above it, but it's not enough room. That 3 times 3 is 9 times that 3 times 3 is 9 times 3. And so if we did 9 times 9, we get 81. And then 81 times 3, and we get 243. And as you can see, that's choice B here. Okay, so if it's possible to perfectly root it, if this says, right, you're going to square root it because there's a 2 on the bottom, and you can perfectly square root it into like a 3 like we did, do that. Do that first to make it small, then go bigger with the power on top. Going smaller and then bigger is better than going super big than trying to shrink it back down from a giant size. Okay, let's keep going. So for this one, this looks like it would be some kind of FOIL problem, first, outer, inner, last, right? But it's not, because in FOIL problems, what you're dealing with is binomials where you have addition or subtraction in between, and that separates the terms. And that's not what's going on here. These terms don't have that, they have multiplication. So really you're just multiplying all this stuff together. And since multiplication lets you reorder it, we can reorder this to be able to say 5m to the 4/3 times m to the 1/3 times 5n to the 1/4 times 2n to the 1/8. You don't have to reorder, you just need to know that we can deal with the m's and the n's separately. And in fact, the first thing that we can do is we can multiply all the coefficients. So 5 times 5 is 25, times 2 is 50. Okay, now what do we get on the m's? Well, when we multiply, we just add terms together. So if we were multiplying m to the 4/3 times m to the 1/3, I'm sorry, I said we multiply, but we add them together. Okay, when there's two things that are being multiplied, like this and this together, same base, we add the exponents. So what is 4/3 plus 1/3? It is 5/3. And what about the n term? The n term has 1/4 plus 1/8. And so we have to add 1/4 and 1/8. And what that's going to look like here is 1/4 plus 1/8. We need to have a common denominator. So we can turn 1/4 into 2/8, which is 2/8 plus 1/8, or 3/8. So then what do we get as a result? We get 50 m to the 5/3 n to the 3/8, and that is B. And finally, 256 to the 1/4. Essentially what that means is you are fourth rooting that. You are saying the fourth root of 256. And another way to think of that is you could break that down and to say, what is 256? Fourth root. 256 is 2 times 128. And 128 is 2 times 64. 64, I know that one, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so you can say 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64, times 2 is 128, times 2 is 256. Um, those those 2's raised to a certain power, those are really handy to know. They come up a lot. And then how do we deal with this? Well, anytime, because we're fourth rooting it, we need to see it inside 4 times in order to bring it out. So that means that we can bring out a 2, and there's another set of 4 2's in there. We can bring it out again as another 2. And multiplying those together, we get 4. And where is that? That's it.